Hello, world, and welcome to Post Credits Commentary, a podcast where we make commentary post credits.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Allison.
Join us weekly as we give you our unfiltered opinions and hottest takes on recently watched films.
And spoiler alert, there will be spoilers.
Grab your popcorn, silence your phones, and let's roll the tape. Welcome back, everybody, to this week's episode of Post Credits Commentary. This week, we have a Wes Anderson film, The Phoenician Scheme. For those that may not know, The Phoenician Scheme follows a globe-trotting tycoon and arms dealer named Zaza Korda, who appoints his nun daughter, Liesel, as heir following an assassination attempt. The two travel around the world securing funding for a massive Phoenician infrastructure scheme, with assassination attempts, plane crashes, and surreal encounters with a vast ensemble of characters. How'd that sound?
Pretty good.
Good. All right. As always, we're going to jump in first with initial thoughts of this film. Allison, what were your initial thoughts of this film?
Okay, initial thoughts. There's a lot going on here, but also what's going on here. But also something's going on here.
Uh-huh. Did you like it?
I did. Yes.
You liked it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. As for me, I'm going to be honest. This wasn't my favorite episode. This wasn't my favorite movie that we've seen. It's actually my least favorite movie we've seen so far this year. Mm-hmm. I don't think I'm smart enough to understand Wes Anderson in all of his glory. Now, I say that as someone who actually thoroughly enjoyed Asteroid City, the movie he made 2 years ago, maybe even last year. I did enjoy Asteroid City. I thought it was a good movie. The things that stand out to me in this one are the visuals, as is the case with most Wes Anderson films. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it wasn't my favorite. And we'll jump into why now.
So, for plot, script, and characters. The plot. So originally, at the very end of the movie, I was like, all right, I don't know what happened. Like, I know what happened, but, like, the plot was definitely all over the place. But then, when I was thinking about it more, I don't think it was that all over the place. I think it was definitely a comedy. I don't think too much of it was supposed to be taken serious. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of how I'm viewing it, as just like a very, I don't want to say surface level movie, but like, I don't think there's anything super deep to it.
We'll get back to that as we go deeper to themes, because I agree with you, but a lot of people didn't. So I'm curious to talk about takeaways and stuff like that. But in terms of the plot, I agree that it's not as all over the place as it initially feels. It is pretty straightforward, I think. For me, though, it follows a plot structure that I personally don't care for. I'm not a big fan of episodic movies I don't know if that's the right word for it, but in this movie we have a scene and then we go to another scene, meet another batch of characters, and then we go to another scene and have another batch of characters. And our main characters interact with these other characters, but we don't get any scenes with side characters really interacting with one another until the very end when we're doing like climactic stuff. But even then, they don't really interact so much as all sign a piece of paper together. Like I don't know if Scarlett Johansson ever speaks to Tom Hanks in this movie. And I'm just not a big fan of that sort of plot structure. So right off the bat, it was already off to a rough start for me. But
Yeah, and I do feel like that kind of plot structure is part of what makes it seem a little chaotic. Um, because you're going to each of these locations with different characters, but they don't like tie into each other really until the very end.
The only thing tying them all together is that we know they're all investors in this scheme. So I will say, I think what we got was fine, but I think I would have liked more assassination attempts throughout the movie. That's more just personal preference.
Yeah, I feel like we're at a point in Zaza's story, his life, where it's just already established that he's had all of these attempts and that he's trying to get to a point where people aren't trying to kill him anymore. How many attempts did we get on screen? 1, 2,
3,
4?
4. I think 4.
2 plane crashes, the elevator, and then
5. 2 plane crashes, the assassin that kills their driver in the desert, the elevator that I forgot about, and then the final attempt.
Right, the brother.
So, in terms of deeper stuff going on, it's not really deeper, I guess. It's kind of the main point. But I was a fan of the idea that Zaza, views Liesel as his daughter, even though she might not be. That was something that I latched onto and was happy that they included here, which kind of ties into the character arcs of the movie a lot more than the plot does, in my opinion. But that being said, it ends with a good character moment that furthers the plot. So, can't be too mad.
The ending is probably my favorite part of the whole movie.
I think I agree. So I guess let's break into mini sections. And we can probably do characters while we go through this based on the setup.
Okay.
So the opening scene is the first plane assassination attempt. We meet Zaza. He's reading a book on the plane.
This is a wild scene.
It blows up, which made me laugh immediately.
Like it was so, at least for me, so unexpected that I was like, oh my god, did that just happen?
Oh. What did you know about this going in, if anything?
About the movie?
Yeah.
I saw trailers. I saw memes about Michael Cera, and I think I might have read a plot synopsis.
I knew nothing. I genuinely thought this was a spy thriller.
Didn't you watch the trailer?
I don't remember a thing about it.
Do you remember how weird it was?
Of course I remember how weird it was. That's how Wes Anderson works. But I thought it was a spy thriller. And we were off to a good start with this. I was like, hey, spy thriller. So then he ejects his pilot. And we kind of get a sense of Zaza at the beginning being that kind of selfish person that we hear about
Mm-hmm.
later with a lot of the characters. You know, we see him think his pilot can't do the landing right, so he ejects him. We see him not really care about his assistant who blows up. Um, yeah, we're introduced to him being a very
Trust nobody, do it himself type of person.
yep.
Um, and then plane crashes, but he survives because he survives everything
Mm-hmm.
apparently. Um, and then we go into the title sequence, opening credits. What would you call it?
The opening credits. Yeah.
Opening credits. Um, which I actually enjoyed. I know we're not into cinematography yet, but the opening credits scene was very nice.
Yeah, great shot, great movement. I'm with you.
Very random, like still very funny things happening.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we go into Zaza's house,
Mm-hmm.
and his daughter is there.
Yep. We meet Liesel and Bjorn.
We do meet Bjorn sitting
Well,
in the corner.
yep. We'll start with Liesel here. Well, actually, so already in this scene, you can tell that Bjorn has his eyes kind of set on Liesel. He's doing a lot of staring. Um, so maybe we should start with Bjorn. First impressions of Bjorn.
Great.
Yeah. The casting of Michael Cera as Bjorn was a great choice. Whoever
Maybe,
did that casting, they
yeah,
deserve
maybe
a
the best
raise.
casting of the whole thing, honestly.
I might agree,
Yeah.
actually. Um,
But Bjorn is very awkward. Uh, where is he from? Norway?
yes,
He's from Norway. He has been brought to Zaza's house to be a tutor for his 9 sons, and he specializes in bugs.
that he does. I hated the scenes where they would just cut to him and he'd have a bug in his hand.
Yep.
That one was a tarantula, and I was like, oh,
No, no. Nope.
that one got me.
I wonder if
Um,
they used like a real one.
can you imagine being Michael Cera and they're like, in this scene, you're going to be holding a tarantula? I've heard they're pretty harmless to humans,
Yeah, I know, but still.
but it would still terrify me. Anyway, um, yeah, there's more to him that I guess we'll get to.
Mhm.
But like first impressions, same. I do think he's my favorite character in this.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, he's hilarious.
yeah, great addition, great choice of acting. Um, he's not a spy. He passes the lie detector test. He cannot
Also,
be a spy.
this lie detector test was so funny. When they first said they were gonna do it, I was like, oh, okay, that's funny. But then when they bring it out, it literally just clips a little tiny box with a spiral cord with something that clips onto your finger.
Hmm?
Then they ask him a question, and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Does this even exist in real life? Especially for the 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
Technology was bigger then, not smaller.
Yep. Um. So that was one of my favorite recurring jokes. Um. And then Liesel
Is a nun.
is I mean, there's no probably. She's like our third main character. These are the three that actually share scenes together.
Yeah.
Um, so let's talk about Liesel.
She's a nun. Well, she's in school to be a nun. She hasn't officially become a nun.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't grow up with her dad,
No, not at all.
which kind of brings us into the whole beginning of the plot, really. Um, Zaza has realized he dies too many times. He should probably plan for the future. So he needs somebody that will take over should he actually die.
Hmm. And he chose Liesel
Liesel.
and not any of his sons.
To be fair, all of his sons are young.
Yep, correct. They look quite immature too.
Like at least
Act.
10 years younger than Liesel.
Um, but Liesel is hesitant because she believes that he killed her mother,
Mm-hmm.
but he claims he didn't.
I feel like she's obviously trying to become a nun, so like her frame of like she's for the good in the world. She probably has heard things about her father and knows that he's a scheming man,
Uh-huh.
doesn't really care about others.
I think something that's interesting is like we're introduced to Zaza as like a pretty bad person, but for some reason, the way Benicio del Toro played that scene, I believed him. I was like, yeah, he didn't kill his mom. He's done a lot of other bad things, but he didn't kill her.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had that feeling. And I was like, I really hope they don't do this twist where he actually murders her, but they don't. But I believed right there
That he didn't.
that he didn't. Which is a crazy thing to say because I didn't like the acting for most of this movie. Because I think it's just a Wes Anderson thing of how he wants them to deliver a line.
Like the deadpan,
The deadpan, very fast,
no emotion.
no real emotion. And I think that's why I like Bjorn so much because I think he did have emotion when he maybe it was just an accent, I don't know. But
Uh,
I felt like when he was taking the test, he was like, "Oh, goodness no." And instead of being like, "Goodness no," like everyone else.
it could be part of the accent.
Yeah, could be. But so yeah, these are the main three. He explains to Liesel that he needs to um get the gap covered to cover all these projects. So they go to the first one.
Well, wait. First off, she agrees to go on this trip, I guess, with him, but um does she agree in the beginning or is it in the end and he has to pay the slaves fair wages and something else?
I think that was in the beginning.
In the beginning?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But that's
He's like, no, they're slaves.
but then so she says she would only go if he
Hmm.
did. So he agreed.
Well, and she goes with him on a trial basis.
This is true. It is a trial.
Hmm. Which I also thought was funny. The movie is funny. It's
I think it's intended to be a comedy.
it's well written. I think it's hilarious. I laughed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it has going for it. To me.
Fair. So first part of the journey. Who do we hit first?
So they meet the prince, and then they meet Tom Hanks and Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, okay. So first they go to the prince, and first off, let's clarify for anybody that hasn't seen this movie, which I don't know why you're listening, unless you're Kara. Shout out Kara. Um,
God. Why did you do that?
um, so Zaza has this big project he is working on, but there ends up being a gap in the money. So when they say a gap, it's the money for funding the project. And so he's going to visit all the partners on this project to see if he can get enough money to cover the gap so that he still makes money at the end of all this. It's basically why they're doing this.
That was way better explained than how I explained it. So thank you.
Um, and so the first place we stop is this prince.
Yep.
I don't remember his exact name.
Me neither.
It really stuck with us. And at first the prince is like, no, I'm not going to help you with this gap. Right? This was that one.
The prince was always going to. It's the two men that say no.
Whose life did he save?
That's the Egyptian guy. We aren't there yet.
Oh, okay.
I actually don't know if he's Egyptian. I shouldn't have said that. I know none of these side characters' names.
Cut that part.
I know none of these characters' names, but it's fine.
Maybe we should look them up really fast.
It's great. Prince Farouk. Yeah, so it's Prince Farouk, and then the Californians are Leland and Reagan.
Prince Farouk is so unimportant. He's not even mentioned in the plot.
No. Okay.
What happens when they see Prince Farouk?
The assassin kills the driver, and Prince Farouk is like, "Sorry about that," and then Zaza's like, "Have a grenade," and he's like, "Thanks, you're so kind." And he gives him a knife.
This is like right before they're like going into the...
Yeah, and then they go into the tunnel and meet the
Yes.
Californians,
Okay.
which is a much better scene. So I can understand why you would forget.
So the first stop on this journey is where we meet our first investor, Prince Farouk.
Prince Farouk.
And I think ultimately Prince Farouk agrees to pay his portion of the gap.
So I actually think he's not an initial investor. I think he's just part of the deal with the Californian people.
Oh.
Because if you remember on the thing that shows up where it's like the goal, it's just like the Californians 50%, but then after it drops to like 10, and then in parentheses it says 5% Prince or something like that. Like I think he adds on. I think he helps them.
Okay, so we meet Prince Farouk. The driver of Zaza is apparently an assassin.
No. The driver is killed by an assassin.
The people on the hill?
Yeah, the assassin is on a camel on the hill.
That's right.
Who they think the prince is.
Yes.
Zaza's like, there's the prince. And then he's like, actually, I think that's an assassin.
Yes.
And then the driver dies.
Are we still recording?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right. So then the prince takes us,
Into the tunnel.
we're like, yeah, so like we're not, are we on a train track?
Yeah.
Yes. But we're not like in a train car.
No.
But it takes us into the tunnel, and then the tracks stop. There's a weird amount of space, and then another set of tracks starts. And on the other set of tracks,
Comes the Californians.
the Californians on a train.
Played by Tom Hanks and Bryan Cranston.
What a duo. Honestly, I'm a little biased, but I think I like almost everything Bryan Cranston does. Like, I don't know. You just can't not love Bryan Cranston.
I agree. I mean, he was in Asteroid City too as the narrator. So I feel like he likes working with Wes.
Tom Hanks was also in Asteroid City.
I think so. So was ScarJo?
I don't remember.
I also don't remember.
But these two are investors for this Phoenician
And
scheme.
they're a little angry.
As most investors probably would be.
And they're angry because Zaza has fiddled with the deal.
Mm-hmm.
To which the prince had no idea. So he claims. So they say they're going to back out. But Zaza says, no. Let's settle this like men.
And when he means settle like men, he means basketball.
They play basketball. It's not real basketball. I think it's horse,
Yeah, it's basically horse.
where you have to recreate the shot that the other people do.
Yeah, and it turns out Bryan Cranston and Tom Hanks great at basketball.
Very good at basketball.
Who knew?
Um,
Comically good at basketball.
Zaza and Farouk, not good at basketball.
Especially not Farouk.
Nah.
Never seen one before. Didn't even know you're supposed to dribble.
Yeah. So this is one of the most enjoyable scenes, I think. While they're duking it out on the basketball court, inside the cart, Bjorn and Liesel are having a talk about dating, and then they're
also drinking some beers.
Yep, I was gonna say Bjorn manages to convince Liesel to have a beer
because it's not hard liquor.
Because it's not hard liquor. This is something that people have pointed out. Each of the stops, she picks up kind of something new to be a little more unpure, which.
But she doesn't. I don't think she realizes.
Correct, she doesn't. But it kind of mirrors, or reverse mirrors, Zaza, who each step kind of becomes a little more pure. So that is an interesting thing, an interesting pattern there. So Farouk and Zaza are kind of getting their butts kicked. And then Zaza has a breakdown about Liesel's mother. And then the prince has one final shot to complete the deal from half court. And Liesel prays, and he makes it. And next thing we know, we're on the plane. And we have investors. So, what do you think this scene meant?
Just this scene?
Just this scene. Do you think it ties into the greater
God?
The greater themes of the...
We should also mention that throughout this entire movie, we will skip to black and white, and almost like Zaza is picturing himself in heaven. It often happens around attempts, people attempting to take his life. He like thinks maybe he's in heaven now. I don't remember where I was going with that.
But I mean, yeah, he just has scenes where he's in heaven.
Yes.
And Willem Dafoe is there.
Yes. The Willem Dafoe, as always, kind of creepy. But I think this is also what is leading Zaza on this almost a bit of a redemption arc, sort of. He's starting to feel morality.
I agree. Each time he dies, I think he realizes a little bit more that what he's doing on Earth isn't that important, all things considered. So the next stop is the
nightclub. French nightclub. Owner Marseille Bob.
And while we're here, Liesel picks up champagne drinks.
Because it's, again, not hard liquor.
And in this one, once again, the investor goes out. Because this time Zaza has written a blackmail letter to the investor to tell them to pay more. But he doesn't. However, this time Zaza is saved by um these
Mercenaries?
mercenaries that
Activists?
come in and rob everyone.
They rob everyone, but they're all about peace, so they don't kill anyone. But they still have big guns, and this nightclub is essentially made of mirrors, so they're just shooting up the ceiling. And of course, Marsai Bob is like, this was kind of a funny scene, I think. Comes out and is like, why are you shooting my ceiling? And, the mercenary activist people are like, oh, we're here because, spread their message and whatever, this is what we're gonna do. And he's like, I understand, but why are you shooting the ceiling? And I think it's funny.
This movie is weird. As we're sitting here talking about it, I'm just
Remembering?
this movie is so strange. Uh and so Zaza ends up taking a bullet for Bob.
Yeah.
And he goes to the afterlife and he meets his wife.
hmm
And his wife straight up reveals that Liesel is not his daughter.
Yep.
But he doesn't care.
He doesn't care. Probably because he sees the good in Liesel. But now that he has taken a bullet for Marsai Bob feels obligated to assist with the gap.
Mm-hmm.
But since he has taken this bullet, this is where he needs the blood transfusion, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
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 This is another time he almost dies.
Yes. He recovers from this bullet wound and then goes to see Marty.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's worth noting, though, that nope, that's during the Marty scene, too. Okay. So they go off to Marty, played here by Jeffrey Wright. Love me, Jeffrey's Wright. And Marsai Bob comes with him this time.
Mm-hmm.
And when they sit down to do business, Corda passes out from blood loss, I guess.
Because he took the bullet.
Yep. And then once again goes to heaven.
Yes, he goes to heaven.
Is this where Liesel's on trial?
I think this is the part where he sees her mother. Yeah, after taking the bullet for Marsai Bob is where he goes to heaven and sees Liesel's mother.
Right. And then they go see Marty, and then he passes out again.
Maybe he doesn't go to heaven again. Or maybe it's just that weird scene.
Or maybe we're just remembering things out of order.
That's totally fair.
Because Liesel is on trial at one point. Or like Liesel's giving a testimony at some point. Because he's on trial at one point. But I don't know when that happens.
Me either.
After the crash? I don't know. Unimportant. Anyway. So then they have a blood transfusion. Because Marty is type O blood. So he can give it to anything.
Also, this blood transfusion machine very much looks like, I don't know, again, it's very small, so not something from the 50s, but so we're on are we on a ship? We're on a ship. So we're in this little cabin. There's like a bed on each side with the small aisleway between them. So you have Zaza on one side, and Marty on the other, and then there's a chair in between them with the little sailor sitting on it, and he's holding what looks, it's probably like the size of a bottle, honestly, and has a pump on top. And you got one tube goes out the right side connecting to Zaza, the other tube comes out connects to Marty. He just pumps the blood back and forth. And I was so funny.
I hated that machine. It like
It's so not real. But also, they're getting these transfusions and they're arguing with each other. So I thought that was kind of funny because you see a sailor just trying to mind his own business, but then one of them will say something and he'll just like give him a side eye and like stop pumping, but then realize he's supposed to be pumping. The subtle humor for me was great.
um yeah. So while they're doing this blood transfusion, Zaza does admit that he knows that Liesel's mother was having an affair with his half-brother Nubar,
Nubar.
played by Benedict Cumberbatch.
Wild.
And that to get back at her for having an affair, he made up a story that she was also having an affair with Nubar's assistant, which prompted Nubar to kill her. So Nubar ended up killing
her mother.
Which then sets Liesel on this path of retribution.
Bringing Nubar to justice.
Yeah, not to kill him, to make him serve time for his crimes.
But she is also mad that her father still continued to work with Nubar all this time, knowing what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Almost mad enough that she does not want to be his heir anymore and continue this trip. But it's the promise that they will bring Nubar to justice that she stays and continues.
That's true. She also picks up smoking during this trip.
With a pipe?
Shit. Yep.
She already had a pipe, though.
Did we see her use it?
We did, because she used a regular one and then he gave her the bejeweled one as a gift.
At the end. I think this is the first time we see her smoke the pipe.
But he gives her the bejeweled one before she decides she's not being a nun anymore, because she has it when she sees the older nun at the end. She has the bejeweled pipe.
Uh-huh.
And that's, yeah. I don't remember exactly when she...
It comes... The pipe comes in the bag that also contains the urgent letter where they change their destination.
Oh, yes.
Real quick.
Was that before the boat?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe. Literally have no idea where we are in this movie right now. So, at some point, we end up going to his cousin, played by Scarlett Johansson.
Yes.
Hilda. Because she's also an investor, but she doesn't want to invest anything.
He almost tries to force her to invest, thinking if he offers to marry her, that then he can say, you have to, because your money's my money, basically. But she says no. She still accepts the proposal, but does not want to help with the gap.
Uh-huh. Is this the scene after where I feel like this is the scene where the plane comes in.
Yeah, this is the one.
Because Bjorn starts tapping in Morse code
Yes.
at some point. Maybe before the Hilda trip. I literally don't know. But Bjorn starts tapping in Morse code. And Liesel knows Morse code.
So she's like, how do you know Morse code? And at first he tries to play dumb. He's like, oh, was it?
But it was because while all this is going on, there are people from governments around the world that have gotten together to try to thwart Zaza's scheme here.
Mm-hmm.
And they do that
Through Bjorn.
Bjorn is a secret agent.
What?
Who would have thought?
From America.
From Wilmington, Delaware, to be
Yes.
precise.
Literally, it said that, and I was like, what? Is Michael Cera from Wilmington, Delaware?
I don't
I
know.
was wondering if there was anything. Like, somebody has to have a connection to Wilmington, Delaware. There's no way they just were like, nobody knows that. Nobody knows Wilmington, Delaware exists unless they're from Delaware.
Wes Anderson would.
Well,
Wes Anderson would know. And he'd be like, Wilmington, Delaware. Seems like a stupid place. I'm going to make my character from it. So. So then the pilot. Excuse me. I feel like this is where the pipe comes in too.
the pipe.
Yeah. Because I feel like we get the thing and then we make a. Because.
According to Wikipedia, this is where the plane crash happens.
I know, but I think this all happens at roughly the same time.
Mm.
Because they can't read his handwriting, right?
Mm.
So then Zaza goes in to talk to the pilot.
Yes.
And then we have an emergency because the pilot's dead.
Yes. Yep.
Yep. And then everyone's like, what do we do? And then the assassins shoot down the plane.
And then there's wreckage.
And in that wreckage reveals to the people that aren't the audience that Bjorn is a secret agent.
Which I kind of think I picked up on it before. Because they show you the scenes of the Americans getting the what's it called? The Morse code. What is it? Telegram. They show the scenes of the Americans getting the telegrams, and they read out whatever Zaza was just currently doing in the previous scene, and I'm like the only person that was there that would know that was Bjorn.
I do not recall any of these scenes where these people were reading Morse code.
You remember?
No, that's what I just said.
You don't remember all the American guys?
No. I don't remember them ever reading a thing of Morse code.
They were reading like a telegram.
I don't remember this.
Because it came in this long strip.
Don't remember.
Alright, well,
I only remember them talking about the screw they made.
yeah.
And then they talk about they put something up on the screen, but that's where they reveal that he's a secret agent anyway. So
Okay.
those are the only two scenes I remember of those people, except for the end when Bjorn brings him in. Doesn't make sense.
But the wreckage ultimately reveals that Bjorn's the spy. And this is so hilarious. Such a hilarious transition. Because he suddenly drops the whole facade of this Norway bug specialist guy. And it's fully just American. And at first they're like, we don't believe you. So then he turns around and like walks off. And he's like, I'll show you. He turns around, he walks off. He unbuttons his cardigan, I think. He takes his glasses off. He kind of ruffles his hair. And then he turns back around. And he just looks like so like laid back and speaks in straight up American accent as Michael Cera as you know him, and the duality is just great.
I saw a theory that when he walked off, he was just going to come back as a totally different actor. And I just think that would have been so funny. I would have laughed so hard if he did that. But this was also quite funny, the physical acting of it. And here Bjorn basically reveals that he's gonna stick with them because he loves Liesel.
Yep.
And now that he's not a nerd, he kind of wonders if Liesel will like him back. Now this is the part again where Liesel's been kind of experimenting with different things. This is the stage where she experiments with a relationship because Zaza falls into some quicksand
Yes.
and Liesel kisses Bjorn before he dives in and saves him.
What is Bjorn's real name?
I don't think he reveals it.
I thought he did.
He shows his
Maybe his last name?
he shows his
Badge?
passport, but I couldn't see his name on the passport, and he just said I would prefer Bjorn.
Okay.
So I think we just continue to call him
Bjorn.
Bjorn.
Okay. Um, but yes. I don't remember where are you going?
Well, he's saved from the quicksand now. Bjorn saves him from the quicksand. Does he ask for help?
He doesn't ask for help. He says he's got it as he sinks slower.
Once again, we're still not at the point where we're asking for help.
And then Bjorn jumps in, ties a rope he ties a rope to his waist and then tells Liesel to go put it around a tree and then jumps in the quicksand to grab Zaza. And I guess they climb out and she helps pull him out.
This might be another scene where he goes to heaven. This might be the scene where he's on trial.
This probably is.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's also a moment where Liesel is still questioning whether she's still gonna take this over for her father one day. And she is almost thinking she's probably gonna go back to the church at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But so here's a reintroduction of some characters we've already met. Their plane crashed, and so they're stranded. What are they gonna do? The
fighters from the French
activist
nightclub.
guerrilla people from before that shot up the nightclub just so happen to come across them. Oh, you guys need help?
And then also he hires them to be his security detail at the hotel where they're going to finalize the deal.
Yes. So these activist guerrilla people take them home.
When they get back,
Zaza's setting up to reveal to all his investors the grand plan for Phoenicia. But also, once we get back, Liesel's Mother Superior from the nunnery. Is that what it's called? The coven?
I don't know what the actual term is called.
Anyways, so the top nun lady.
Did you say the coven?
Yeah.
The coven is... No, that's like witch stuff.
What is it called?
I don't know. Not important.
I've watched so many shows with nuns.
Her Mother Superior basically is like, I don't think religion is meant for you.
Yes, because her mother superior has noticed that she's picked up a taste for some of the finer things. When she started out, she had this just very plain rosary, but along their journey, her father replaced it with a very fancy one made of jewels. Um, and she also is lighting up with a pipe in front of Mother Superior, just very casually. But the pipe is also a gift from Zaza that was covered in jewels.
She also has that dagger from the prince
Yeah.
that's also laced with jewels.
Yes, she.
So
Yep.
she's living the lavish life here.
And so Mother Superior is like, you're not allowed to finish becoming a nun.
So she wants to leave, but there's still that promise of Nubar has arrived and they can meet with her and she wants justice.
So we're back at the hotel. Uh, it's getting set up for the big show for the investors. Um, but before then, we go into a room with Nubar, Zaza, Bjorn, and Liesel.
Also, I have a complaint.
Okay,
Why was a cardinal there?
a cardinal.
Yeah,
Where was he?
he was on the end. He signs the paperwork, but
Oh,
he's like not an investor.
maybe
So
he's part of Phoenicia.
it was just very confusing when they went through all the investors and then all of a sudden
Maybe he's the
it was
witness.
like the Holy Roman
The
Catholic
Pope.
Church. And I was like, why?
Maybe he's the witness.
Well, maybe because, yeah, because Hilda, they get married first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe they just needed him there
For
for the marriage portion.
yeah. And so now we finally meet Nubar, which, as we said before, Benedict Cumberbatch. Um, Very hilarious.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I had to really squint to be like, that is Benedict Cumberbatch.
I didn't have to squint. I don't know. Even with them bushy eyebrows and that mustache, that was Benedict
He's
Cumberbatch.
ugly, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah. Um,
He looks like a villain.
we Liesel finally gets to sit down and confront Nubar.
Who reveals that he wasn't
Liesel's father.
Liesel's father or the murderer of Liesel's mother. Is that true? Didn't he blame the assistant?
I don't remember, but he does say that he was trying to kill um Zaza the whole time.
Yes, he is the man who sent assassins after
Zaza this entire
everyone
time.
else. Um, although that's technically revealed after, because he says he's pulling out all of his funds, which
Yes.
they need like 50% of his funds, so that doesn't go great.
And then we end up in this almost very, very silly, in my opinion. I thought it was so silly. This like two brothers like fighting and running around the hallway and the stairs and just like the very silly way.
Well, we're still not there.
Where are we?
That's later.
Oh God.
He reveals he's not.
Her
He reveals
father.
he's not her father, and he reveals he's not going to fund. So then, on their way back down, that's when Zaza decides that he's going to fund the gap.
Yes. Even though it would cost him his entire
Everything.
fortune.
Yeah,
He-
because he also had talked with the Mother Superior back home about converting to Catholicism
Mm-hmm.
because he
Because
met with God, played by Bill Murray.
hilarious. But he has had this whole journey himself, uh, while on this journey to close up the scheme. And he's realized that at the end of the day, he wants more than money to pass on to his children.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's going to fund the rest of the gap, even though it's going to bankrupt him, but he's going to be done. And he came to that decision. And so then we go to a scene where we have all the investors sitting in this hall.
They all sign the deal.
They sign the deal.
And then he begins a
Presentation
about the glory of the Phoenician scheme. And it does look pretty cool, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's a very
Complete with waterfall.
a huge 3D life-size model, essentially, of all the parts of Phoenicia that they're going to make better.
And then he's told that Nubar needs to speak to him.
In the middle of his presentation.
Mm-hmm.
So he pauses and leaves the stage and goes to a different room. And this is where Nubar reveals that this entire time he has been the one trying to kill Zaza. But all the assassination attempts were Nubar. I don't remember why he said he did it.
I don't think he does. I just think he hates him.
And then he tries, I guess, one final time to kill him, which turns into this very comical brawl between the two brothers as they try to wrestle away from each other.
Yep. Zaza eventually wins.
Does he kill him?
It's kind of unclear because there's poison
Oh, right, the purple.
in the gift. There's like purple poison that Nubar throws at Zaza, but it just bounces off his face, and then Zaza throws it
Throws it
at
back,
Nubar.
and the vial breaks,
Vial breaks.
and we have this huge cloud of purple.
Right. But then he emerges above the 3D model
Oh, yes. So
and then
then,
blows himself up with a grenade. So I'm pretty sure he's dead.
yes, okay. So they do this brawl. Ends with Zaza throwing the poison at Nubar. I guess Zaza assumes he killed him because then Zaza goes out to finish his presentation to the investors, to which, surprise, Nubar's not dead. And he emerges at the top of this 3D model with the grenade. The same grenade that, I don't know if we mentioned it, Zaza's been giving out to his investors. Just a great gift. Have a grenade.
Sorry. So yeah. The grenade blows Nubar up. And once again, he escapes death again, Zaza. He's in heaven for the final time with all the characters, everyone. Except for all the heavenly characters, I should say. And then he reawakens a new man.
I think Nubar setting off the grenade and also blowing up this giant model of the Phoenician scheme. Symbolism, yeah.
Mm.
It's almost like now Zaza is free.
Mm-hmm. And what does he do with that freedom? He opens a restaurant. Sorry. He opens a restaurant. He's living everyday life. not very rich anymore.
Not rich at all. They have to sell the grand mansion, I suppose, that they lived in before, and now they live in this. It's almost like a very poor townhouse, but
Yeah.
like,
That's also a restaurant.
yes, at the bottom is their restaurant. Um, Zaza mentions at some point in the beginning of the movie that he used to wash dishes
And cook.
and cook.
And he does both.
But
He does both now.
yep, now he opened his restaurant. I think it was called Ches Corda.
Uh huh.
Um, and Liesel is impressed that her father has had this full change of like mindset and heart, and now that she's no longer becoming a nun, she stays with him.
Uh huh.
Helps at the restaurant, helps with her brothers.
Also marries Bjorn,
Yes, so
or they get engaged, I guess.
they get engaged. This scene was also kind of funny because it's the same ring that Zaza gave to his cousin Hilda. And when Hilda ultimately decided she didn't want to marry her cousin, she sent the ring back. And then Zaza gave it to Bjorn so that Bjorn could propose to Liesel.
And then the movie ends with Liesel and Zaza playing cards.
Yeah, they close up the restaurant for the day, sit down in the back room of the kitchen and start playing cards. Do we know what card game they were playing?
And I was trying to figure it out.
Because there was a millisecond where I thought they were playing that one that we played at Christmas.
Euchre?
Yeah.
I also thought it was Euchre at first, but then I was like, no, I don't know what this is.
No, then they did something else. But it,
Yes, I thought the same, actually. I got really excited. I was like,
I was also like, there's no way that's the game.
um, that would have been funny. Wes Anderson would have been like, this is a stupid card game. I'm going to have my characters play it. But yeah, so that was the plot and all the characters and our general thoughts on them. I think you can tell, I think, how we broke it down, how we feel about the movie. It's funny. It's just a lot. Um, where I don't think this movie struggles, though, is visuals and directing. Um, Wes Anderson has a style in terms of his directing and visuals that I am so drawn to. We talked about that shot of the
In the bathroom.
in the bathroom. That continuous shot was great. I also loved the opening shot of the plane, like his use of color
Yes.
and framing.
Yes. The bathroom shot specifically, if you haven't seen it, it's fully from above, looking down. And it's after Zaza's first plane crash in the movie. And so he's in the bathtub and he has like, I don't know, nurses coming into the bathroom um to like attend to him or like give him a meal or something. But it's just so centered and it's just gorgeous. And of course funny things happen, like somebody puts champagne in the bidet and it's just yeah.
Yep. It's a great shot. It's a really good shot.
I read something that said Wes Anderson somebody went it was like a meme. They were like, I wanted to be in the Wes Anderson movie, but my face isn't symmetrical enough. And then I was thinking about it and was like, you know what? All of the shots are so like lined up and like precise and structured,
Yep.
and that's probably the best way I could describe
Yep.
his visuals.
He's very precise. The other one that drew me in was the shot of the mansion for the first time, the interior, because I genuinely thought it was a model at first. Like that's how perfect it was.
Yeah,
And then characters walked in and I was like, "Oh."
this is the scene.
Like I literally thought he took a camera up to like a dollhouse model and was shooting that for a bit until characters walked in because it was so impressively straight and perfect and everything.
Yeah.
So, but he's always had, Asteroid City also had a vibe that I just thoroughly enjoyed. His his visual style is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
A negative for direction for me is just I think I already said how he told the actors to talk in this.
Yeah,
It's just so monotone and
I think it plays into the visuals some though. Like it's very structured. Like, yeah. I mean, I will agree. Um, most movies I like have feeling
mhm.
and emotion in them. This movie is definitely not that. Like, there's definitely messages and themes that come out, but like, this is not something that's gonna pull at your heartstrings. It's like that's what I think I mean when I earlier when I said face value and like how it's delivered. Like I think it's supposed to be fun.
All right. Score, soundtrack.
Score and soundtrack. I feel like there wasn't a lot.
I like the score a lot actually in this movie. There weren't a ton of scenes that stood out, but what did stand out to me, I thought was very
Mm.
interesting. The scene of when they first arrive at the desert and it's like panning over the sands.
Uh-huh.
That song that plays during that is really good, I thought.
Mm.
It fun fact, it's Alexander Desplat
Oh,
who do you know who that is?
no.
Why'd you say no? Or why'd you say oh?
Well, it sounded familiar.
The only other thing I know that he's done that I've watched was Harry Potter 7-2.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Um, but perhaps most exciting for me is he's doing the Jurassic World movie coming in July.
Really?
So I should also say he did Asteroid City. I think he's a Wes Anderson.
Mm. Yeah. They tend to have their guys.
He did Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio too.
Oh. You
I
like
love
that
Guillermo del
one.
Toro's Pinocchio. Yeah, so he's definitely Wes Anderson's guy for
Hmm.
sure. He's done Phoenician Scheme is the seventh movie
Wow.
he's done for Wes Anderson,
Yeah, that's his guy.
and the third he'll do for Guillermo del Toro.
Mm.
Sorry, he's doing Frankenstein. Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein
Ah,
as well.
yes.
So,
Well, when I said I didn't feel like it was a lot earlier, I meant like I feel like there were a lot of scenes in this movie that were quiet,
yeah, I agree with that. Um,
which I think also was played into all of the structure.
yeah, but again, I think what he wrote was good. Maybe not memorable since I can't remember
Hmm.
exactly how it went. Um, but I remember at the time being like, I dig that. It's also worth noting that there's a lot of stuff in here that is pre-written. Um, like there's Stravinsky,
Oh,
Bach,
that kind of
Beethoven.
makes sense given the time period.
So I recognized all of those immediately as well. Like the last song while they're playing cards is not written by Desplat.
That's
Probably
kind of
it's probably
intriguing.
Desplat because he's probably French. Oh well. So, but I like the use of the classical here too. So can't really complain too much about the score. I thought it was good. What we got.
Themes, standout moments, legacy.
So my favorite scene is easy. I can do this one. My favorite scene is the basketball scene.
Really?
Yeah, I just thought that was so fun.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's it. I love that scene. I thought it was fun.
My favorite scene, obviously visually, I really liked the bathroom scene. But I did really like the entire ending portion showing us Zaza and Liesel's new house in the restaurant and them like closing up for the day and sitting down to play cards. Like for me, that really wrapped up the entire movie.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep. Um.
I think the obvious themes are basically Zaza's entire character arc,
Huh.
realizing that money isn't the most important thing in the world, family's more important, and the
Mhm.
memories you create.
I think there's also an interesting potentially thing that Wes is trying to say about religion
Mm,
and how like you can still be a good person and not
be a nun.
be a nun or be religious, you know.
Hmm.
Even though Zaza does convert to Catholicism at the end, like Liesel is pretty much kicked for doing some things that are things normal everyday people do.
I mean, I think she's still
She's still religious.
Catholic.
I'm
She's
not
just,
saying she's not,
I think
but I
the
think
nun says something to her like it's not for everybody,
yeah, I think that's the point is you can be good no matter who you are.
but not have to be a saint.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um in terms of legacy, I don't personally feel like this will be one that a lot of people remember.
This, I think they'll remember it just based on, I don't want to say controversy, but I feel like with Wes Anderson, all of his movies compete against the rest of his movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think a lot of people like to compare this to that, his other stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think, I don't know, I see it as like a mixed bag from what I've seen online of people liking this and not liking it compared to his other stuff. I was watching something on TikTok about somebody who was disagreeing with one of the top rated reviews on Letterboxd.
Mm-hmm.
The review said this movie feels like a parody of a Wes Anderson movie.
This is a this is a common thing I've seen actually about Wes Anderson movies in the past is a lot of people um have said that over time he's just becoming a parody of himself.
Hmm.
And like point blank, I haven't seen enough of his movies to be able to like actually talk
Hmm.
about that. When it comes to like legacy for me, Asteroid City, a lot of people thought was like really weird, but I loved Asteroid City. There were themes that I personally grabbed onto there, but there just weren't here. That's why it falls flat for me.
Hmm.
Like I can go online, I could see what other people think the themes are. That's great. But when I left the theater after seeing this movie, I was like, I don't I don't know. Like I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but when I left Asteroid City, I was like, I feel that. I get what he's saying there. Um, and those are the only two I've seen of him. I haven't seen Grand Budapest Hotel. I haven't seen
Yeah.
any of his others. So like I can't speak to that, but I have heard that's a common complaint. So I would be interested in going back to watch something
Mm-hmm.
like I know Grand Budapest Hotel was like really well
Yeah.
received. So I just wonder if that would feel different to me. So that might be my next project. Sorry, I went on a tangent.
No, you're fine. Um, I feel like from what I've been reading from other people online, uh, people that, not even people that just, no, you can do that. It was just instantly,
Yeah.
not even people that love Wes Anderson will like, are liking this, but like just people that like acknowledge him as this like eclectic type of director. Um, they enjoy the movie. Do they love it? No, but
Mm-hmm.
they enjoyed it. It was a fine time. It wasn't a waste of 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think the people that are looking for something super bizarre and weird, um, almost think it's not weird enough.
Mm. Interesting.
Yeah. And then the regular people that just go to watch a movie just to enjoy it, like most casual viewers, I don't think care for it.
Yeah. I wonder if I would appreciate it more on rewatch. The problem is I didn't like it enough the first time
To
around at all
rewatch
to
it.
like care about rewatching it.
Yeah. Um, I rewatched a couple of scenes that I could find online. Uh, and do we want to go into final ratings?
Um, Not yet.
Okay.
I have to say I'm gonna tell this story. Um, so we saw it in a theater with six other people, all men,
Except for me.
except for you. But we saw it with six other people, all of whom were men.
Yes.
And all seven of us men like went to the bathroom
Time
afterwards.
out. Well, we didn't know these other men.
Yeah, we don't know these people, and everyone in the bathroom was just talking about how confused they were after the movie ended. Everyone was like, "Bro, does anyone know what we just watched?" And I just thought that was really funny
Mm-hmm.
because seven of us were like, we're confused. So
I mean, I feel like that ending scene really was what wrapped it all up for me, and I got it. Um, was it the best movie ever? No. Will I rewatch it? No. Um, this is the first movie I've said that for. I didn't say it for Lilo and Stitch. Uh,
I mean, you've made it very clear that you don't typically rewatch movies.
I know, but our first two movies, I said I would rewatch them.
Hmm. Yeah, but yeah, you didn't say that about Leo and
No.
Stitch. So
And this one also a no. Was it enjoyable? Yes, it was funny. It was fine. Like,
it was wildly entertaining.
yeah, it was.
I had a good time in this theater.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't think it was meant to be taken on this deep, like, metaphorical level. I think this one maybe it was supposed to be more surface level.
Maybe. I've seen a lot of people breaking down deep stuff out of it, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, guys, I didn't get it. Like, I didn't get it. So, with all that being said, what would your final rating be?
I will say when we left the theater, I gave it a 2.5. I have increased it to a 3.
All right.
Because I was also looking on my Letterboxd of other movies I had seen this year that I had given a 2.5. And this one I liked more than those. So I gave it a 3.
Got you. I am gonna go ahead and give it a 2.5.
That's also an increase for you.
What did I say?
You gave it a 2.
Oh, well, I'm gonna give it a 2.
Oh, just kidding.
It's a it's a little it's a subpar movie to me. Little below average. It is what it is. But yeah, not much else to say on this one. I was a little let down by it, but till next time, maybe Wes can redeem himself.
We'll see.
Maybe when I watch Grand Budapest Hotel, everything will make sense. Who knows?
There you go. For fun today, we thought we would go over some of the scores from the screen jury at the Cannes Film Festival that just happened this past month.
So well said.
Or the Cannes Festival for us uneducated Americans.
That's what I call it.
The screen jury is a group of international film critics who review and score each film in the festival's competition section each year. And then they come up with this grid where on the left side we have all the movies. Across the top we have each of the film critics and then their review for each film that they watched. So this jury grid serves as a parameter of critical reception for the films in contention for the, I'm going to say this word, and I apologize in advance to every French person that exists, Palme d'Or. Please roast me in the comments.
That sounded good to me.
This is basically like the top prize at the film festival. But movies that go to the screen jury are often a good indicator of movies we might see at the Oscars. Last year was a pretty high one. There were 3 movies at the Cannes Film Festival that ended up being up for Best Picture at the Oscars. We had Anora, Amelia Perez, and The Substance.
And one of them won Best Picture.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, is that wrong?
No, you're right. Anora won. And the way they rank is 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, 1 star, or an X. An X means very bad. Doesn't mean they didn't watch it. It means very bad.
Here I was thinking, okay, so some of these people just watch this.
4 stars is excellent. 3 stars is good. 2 is average. 1 is bad. And then the X is very, very poor.
Interesting. So, first thing I've noticed is in the past, since 2019, Parasite and Drive My Car both had 3.5s at the film festival.
Mm-hmm.
Parasite is one of my favorite movies that also won Best Picture.
Can I make a confession?
Yeah.
I just watched Parasite for the first time a couple weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
It was amazing.
Yeah, darn right. It's so good. And that's only a 3.5.
Out of 4.
Oh, it's only out of 4.
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was out of 5.
No.
Okay.
Out of...
Because you can give 5s. You just said you could give
No.
5s.
4.
You literally said you could give 5s.
I didn't say...
Yes, you did. I have it recorded.
Okay.
I will play
Okay.
it for you.
Time out. Time out. 4 stars. 3 stars. 2 stars. 1 star. X. So it'd be like a 4.5 if they didn't have an X.
Okay. So 3.5 is really good.
Yeah.
Anora, which won last year, was a 3.3, which is also pretty good. But this year, I've noticed 3.1 is the highest,
Yes.
which isn't terrible, I guess. I enjoyed Anatomy of a Fall, which was a 3.0. So this is a little bit better than Anatomy of a Fall, I guess.
Yeah. I also liked Anatomy of a Fall, but it was a slow movie for me.
Yeah. Um, the other interesting one, sorry, I should clarify. The 3.1 is called It Was Just an Accident by Jafar Panahi.
There are actually two 3.1s.
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was thinking of two prosecutors actually. It's a
Okay.
3.1 I was excited for.
The other one's also a 3.1.
Yeah, it was just an accident. The other one I find fascinating is Sirat.
Surat.
Sirat.
I don't know if that's how you say it either. Um, Feel free to roast us Americans.
Because I think this movie to me, I know nothing about it.
Surat.
I know very little about it.
This is one of the only ones that has a trailer.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to watch it, and I'm going to tell you something. This screams Oscar contender.
Surat.
Yeah. Because I feel like a lot of Oscar movies, you either love them or you hate them.
Uh-huh.
Like, there is no in between.
Okay.
And what I see here,
Oh. You're
2, 4, terrible. 3 is an outlier. 2, 1, 4, 2, 4, 1, 4, and then another outlier of 3. So it just seems like there's very mixed opinions on that one. Whereas, like, two prosecutors, for the most part, that's one of the 3.1s. Everyone except for one person was like, this is really good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So what's really crazy about the Surat one, it's like kind of insane that you have pointed this out. So the screen jury gives out an award. Sometimes they do two movies, but for one of these movies, there's a special award for a movie that they think, I don't want to say pushes the bounds of creativity, but like it's unique. There's something about it. And Surat is the movie. One they gave two this year. I can't remember what the second one is, but Surat was one. But do you know what movie they gave it to last year? It was also an Oscar contender that people loved and hated.
I don't even know if I remember all the Oscar
It's on this list.
Oh. Amelia Perez.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So I don't know what that means. Because Amelia Perez got a 2.5 rating, which this one has a 2.5 rating.
Oh, there's the Phoenician Scheme.
Yeah, Phoenician
2.3.
Scheme. So I just think it's intriguing that you could tell that a movie could be an Oscar contender based off these reviews. And
Because I know, I've watched enough Oscars and paid enough attention to the internet to know how people view Oscar movies. Because I will scream from the rooftops how much I adore Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yep.
And I think that movie deserves every Oscar it got. And I went online and I saw people trashing that movie. They were like, this movie is so bad. And I know it exists for a lot of movies, but it specifically feels like the big Oscar heavy hitters are almost always so divisive. And I just think I think it's because of how Oscar voters tend to vote for things. Like,
yeah.
you can like see a movie and you can be like, this is an Oscar movie because it's going to be like so stupidly artsy, and it's either going to be for you or it's not. Like, it's never going to be like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was okay. Like, ever. You're going to be like, I love this movie, or you're going to be like, this movie sucks.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's how Oscars movies go.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I do think it's interesting that it got the same award that Amelia Perez got.
Great.
But other things have gotten it in the past. I don't have them in front of me at the moment. But, and I think Amelia Perez ultimately ended up being an outlier.
For those of you listening and wondering, I despised Amelia Perez, actually.
Did you despise it?
Yes.
I thought you gave it, like, not the worst rating. I don't think it was like a half or a 1.
No, it wasn't that bad. But, like, I think you need to understand, like...
Everything that came with Amelia Perez.
I think if you understand how I rate movies, though, like me, I gave it a 1.5. So,
I think I gave it a 1.5 as well.
You also gave it a 1.5.
Yeah.
If you know how I like to grade or rank movies, a 1.5 is probably the lowest I will ever go.
That's not true. Megamind.
Oh yeah, I gave that a Megamind 2. No one come at me in the comments. Megamind 2, the second one. That was trash. But yeah, I don't give movies really low scores often. But that movie was a disaster. I'm sorry, I don't know what y'all were thinking. But
yeah. Another
standout for me from this film fest is Fury.
Yeah.
Which has a 211XX2111111.
Is this the lowest?
It's the lowest on the list.
At a 1.1.
Yeah, so I'm never going to see that. Interestingly, the Phoenician Scheme is on this list. And since we talked about it today, we can go over these scores. I feel like this makes sense based on where I'm at. 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, a 1, a 2. A 4 is interesting. See.
Wait. This person that gave it a 4 is so interesting because I feel like they give mostly low ratings. That's their highest rated movie.
That's their only 4. 2 Prosecutors got a 3 from them.
What did Surratt? A 1.
And they gave Surratt a 1. Oh boy.
This is going to be interesting.
See, now I need to see Surratt. Because I need to see...
If they really like the Phoenician Scheme, but don't like Surratt, what does that mean? Does that mean Surratt's actually good?
Am I wrong? That's what I want to know.
With the average for the Phoenician Scheme being a 2.3. Which not crazy. Looking at all of the movies from this jury from 2019 on, it seems like all the movies had a 2.5 or higher. So Phoenician Scheme's at a 2.3.
It's locked out of the Oscars.
You never know.
It sucks. There's another one I want to talk about.
Okay.
You were excited.
Oh, yeah.
For a movie called Eddington. Which is on here as a 1.5.
Yeah.
2 3s.
3 2s.
3 2s. The rest 1s, except for 1X. So how are you feeling about it now?
This is an Ari Aster film. So I'm not totally surprised. He's another one of those directors I feel like people love or hate. Um, I feel like I'm more intrigued about the story of Eddington. It's like it. Do you know?
You explained it to me before. For the viewers that don't know.
Um, it's basically like I believe it takes place in Texas, and it's these two. I don't know if they're neighbors or something, but it happens during COVID. They get into this big dispute. And I think it's gonna feel a bit like a Western. So that could be counting for low ratings. I feel like a lot of people don't like Westerns anymore.
Mhm.
Um, but it has Joaquin Phoenix, Pedro Pascal. Like I'm still intrigued to see it. I said Pedro Pascal, and he got hype.
Yeah. My cat just zoomed off the table. I was wondering. That'll be cut anyway, so we'll never know.
Um, there's one movie on here that I was actually looking forward to. It's called The History of Sound.
Yeah, 1.9.
Also low rating.
2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2. One
Four,
random 4. 2, nothing, 2, 3.
three.
So seems okay to me, I guess, based on what I'm seeing there.
Yeah, that one's gonna be more of a biopic,
Biopic.
biographical picture, biopic.
Biopic. Here's the movies I'm excited for on this list based on their scores. Sound of Falling,
Mhm.
Two Prosecutors,
Mhm.
The Secret Agent, It Was Just an Accident, Romeria, Sentimental Value, Young Mothers, and The Mastermind.
Basically anything above a
Anything above a
2.5.
2.7.
Hmm. What about Surat? That's the one that you said,
Yeah, well, Surat's a 2.5, so I didn't include it.
but you're still gonna see it.
Oh, I'm absolutely going to see it. Yeah, I need to see what it's like. Dare I pull up a.
The trailer? Um, some movies that didn't make the Oscars but have been on this jury before. Kinds of Kindness got a 2.4.
Kinds of Kindness got a 2.4.
Yeah, which that might be my lowest ranked movie on Letterboxd. I'm not sure, but I hated that movie. I am sorry, to all the Yorgos fans out there. I could not vibe with that one. The Apprentice is on here with a 1.7. The Seed of the Sacred Fig was the top rated one last year at the Cannes Film Festival at a 3.4. It has entirely all 4 and 3 reviews. Um, Understandably, I believe it is about Gaza.
Uh,
Um,
well, I can tell you why that didn't make
well,
the Oscars.
a lot of people were thinking it might. Megalopolis was also here last year. Got a 2.1.
I think it's interesting that these films that are ranked fine, like 2.1 isn't terrible, like it's mid,
Yeah.
are just like hated by general audiences.
This one, especially Megalopolis, it has 4 1-star reviews, but it has 5 3-star reviews, and then 3 2-star reviews. So like there's some pretty
See,
Nobody's no 4 stars though.
I
Nobody
would
thought it was
say that's
great,
an Oscar,
but it was not.
but it was not. It was
It
just a
flopped.
sucky movie.
Yeah. Um.
I think, and this could be a discussion for like another time, but I think there is such a thing of having too artistic of movies, right?
Yeah.
I don't think general audiences care about super artistic movies,
Yeah.
which is why I think some of these ones that come out end up flopping because they don't care.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do think some of these more eclectic directors, it's literally what they are doing is making art.
Mhm.
Like it's not just a casual movie. Um, and so I do think sometimes if you know you're watching that kind of director, like you have to accept that and know that it's going to be different.
Yep.
Um, from 2 years ago, Asteroid City had a 2.2.
Interesting. That means Phoenician Scheme is just point 0.1 better, which I disagree with.
I think it has a better rating on Letterboxd.
So, um, where can our viewers find this list if they wanted to look at it themselves?
The jury grid?
Yeah, since we didn't really go through each one individually, we just kind of talked about the chart as a whole.
You can find the Kane jury grid. Ooh, I'm so sorry. You're gonna cut that. You can find the Can jury grid at screendaily.com. Also, if you just you could just Google jury grid. You don't even have to put the Cannes Film Festival. It's one of the first things that comes up.
Got you. So, if you want more information, you can go to dailyfilm.com or Google Jury Grid and it'll come up. Take a look at it. Leave a comment down below. Love how I say down below as if we're doing YouTube. Anyway,
We have comments. They
We-
can comment.
are they below us?
Yes.
Okay, leave a comment down below. Tell us which of these seem the most interesting to you.
And this will be our 5th episode.
Wow.
So give us a like, a follow, let us know what you've been vibing with.
We should have a party on our 10th episode.
What will be our 10th?
I don't know.
It's probably going to be in super drastic July.
I don't have the brain power to think of that right
It might
now.
be Fantastic Four.
Oh, that would be fun. I could say it's fantastic. We've made it this far. Anyway, thank you for joining us once again. Leave a like, leave a follow,
Tell us your thoughts.
and we will see you as always in the next episode.
Bye.